News at 7 Headlines Thursday, brought to you by Guardian Life. Live secure, live easy.
Tonight in CVM News at 7, father of woman in custody for mummified body speaks. Bad mind on steroids, Vaz fires back at critics and opposition over rural buses. EU to delist Jamaica as high risk. And in sports, Jamaica's NACAC Championships team weakened after withdrawal of Tia Clayton.
News at 7 Headlines Thursday, brought to you by Guardian Life. Live secure, live easy.
Truth is, HIV affects everyone. Truth is, avoiding care leads to a weaker immune system. That means you could get really sick. The truth is, the hardest pill to swallow isn't the medication. It's the problems that follow when you don't take them. Let's get through this together. Remain in care. You can live life to the fullest with HIV. And that's the truth. A message from the Ministry of Health and Wellness.
From Kingston, Jamaica, this is CVM News at 7 for Thursday, July 10, 2025. I'm Nika Lewis. Thanks so much for joining us. The plot thickens since the discovery of a mummified body inside a house in Old Hope Road, Little London, Westmoreland. Well, even as investigations continue into the circumstances and possible cause of death, the father of the woman taken into custody, Gina Novlet Robinson French, has been talking with CVM News, and so too a relative of the victim. Curlin Brown has been leading with one alleged perspective.
Disgrace the whole family. Me can't even walk straight on the road again. I'm very much embarrassed and frustrated. We discover what she have done into the house.
Never in all his years could John Robinson imagine he would be standing afar because of a police outer cordon which deemed the property sterile for the purpose of an active investigation into such a ghostly story, all because he afforded accommodation to one of his two daughters, Gina, some 8 years ago. While she refused other relatives to visit, he came upon the unusual configuration behind a curtain and instructed her to get rid of it. However, at last check on Sunday, it was still there.
I said to her, didn't I told you I don't want to see this thing in the house? Take it out of the house. He said, I got business on it. He can't tell me if he can't take it out. I said, all right. Me I go see which God you worship. If I'm my God you worship, or for your God. If you two of you worship the same God. So me I go to a police station and make them come help me take you out.
The orders were direct.
The officer say to me, if I'm me, I ain't caretaker of the place. So me say him yes. And say, all right, haul you out and throw you out the door.
It was then he and others discovered it was more than meets the eye. Inside what turned out to be a makeshift grave cushioned by pieces of old clothes and mattresses, the preserved remains of Miss Viola Destin. The police were summoned back to the scene when Ms. Robinson spilled the gory details of why she secretly extended care to an old lady from another Westmoreland community.
She was taking care of her. And she get because nobody take care of her and say I beg her. And she take sick until she have to feed her and she get strokes and she die.
But why not raise an alarm?
The story me hear now is that the boyfriend tell her said nothing bury it because I got business she will resurrect. So they are waiting on it to be resurrected. But I extended part of the statement that she give now is that thing. The boyfriend say 4 days time she will resurrect. But when 3 days comes, they start get smell. That's what I heard. And anyway, so she and her church sister from Sheffield, we don't even know her name, but she come here quite often with her. And so they, two of them build up the grave thing over the body.
It's sad relief for Miss Viola Destin's relatives who have come forward, preferring to hold their images like this, while explaining they had a relationship with her, but it was strained at times for the woman whose husband and only child predeceased her. Mention has also been made of 2 adopted daughters who were out of touch. Curlin Brown, CVM News.
Tensions flared in Waterworks, Westmoreland on Wednesday as political representatives and supporters from the Jamaica Labour Party and People's National Party clashed over who should carry out road repairs in the Baggy Road community. Member of Parliament for Central Westmoreland George Wright and Mayor Danry Delancey voiced concerns as the disagreement unfolded.
The political divide in Baggy Road Waterworks has deepened, this time over who should be credited with repairing the community's long deteriorating roadway. Member of Parliament for Central Westmoreland George Wright says it was JLP councillor Dawnette Foster who initially answered the residents' calls by laying crushed stones along the waterlogged stretch.
So we are here today in Waterworks, community called Baggy Road, right, where Councillor Dawnette Foster, who would have listened to the cry of the people. There's a bad road inside here, a lot of water, a lot of marl on the road, and she decided to put stones, crushed stones on the road, which she did. Residents love the stones.
However, Wright says he was shocked when on visiting Wednesday, he witnessed a grader clearing away the stones, a move that he says left the road worse than before. The MP says residents are complaining that they need the stones returned, and he is urging PNP councillor caretaker Abigail Malcolm to heed their concerns and return the crushed stones that were removed.
Lo and behold, today when I come here, I would have seen a grader removing the stones from the road surface and then turn it into mud. As you can see, there's a lot of mud here on the road now. So I am here this morning. The residents are out complaining that they need back the stone. So all I would say to the councillor caretaker to just please the residents of Baggy Road. They need back the stone, and that is what is needed at this time.
While some residents have expressed support for Malcolm, saying she has been working for months to address the issue and had previously brought marl into the area, others have criticized Wright and Foster, claiming their recent presence in the community is driven by the upcoming election. One resident claims that neither Wright nor Foster had visited the area in the past 10 years, allegedly because only PNP supporters live there.
Over 50 years now. Election run, the passport election run. They are not coming here, none at all. None at all. You not coming here. Election start now. They are trying to say the MP for the era. Come now. 10 years away, I'll be a fix it. And then come back in front of one road. And then now. Ever since I that man when he enjoyed right, never come in here. When he win, nobody don't know him in here. Nobody in here don't know him. Since election now, you see him a run come and a Dan a carry me in here. And Dan never come in a passport election. Come look. And say boy making say pay PMP in here. Then I fix the road. So when come in here do you know? We don't want him in here, brother. We don't want him in here.
Mayor of Savlamar, Danry Delancey, who was also present, says the disagreement between the political representatives is unnecessary. He adds that from the municipal corporation standpoint, the priority is ensuring that the roadwork moves forward and meets the required standards. He says both parties are free to carry out the repairs once those standards are maintained.
I've been called here today to look into the situation. I can say that basically it's much over nothing. We have two persons who are two ladies who are very much anxious about doing something at this time for the benefit of the citizens on this road, living on this road here. And therefore, from a municipal corporation point of view, we are saying that we want the road to go through. Whatever regular road can be done at this time, let it go through. I am very much aware of the road conditions on the road here. I've been going here and do relief duties several times in the past. So we will be saying to both all parties concerned, proceed as long as the work is done to the standard set by the Roads and Works Department of Westmoreland Municipal Corporation.
Angela Melville, CVM News.
CVM News at 7 continues in a moment.
Join us this week on Tourism One-on-One as we examine the growth of the Morgans Group, the local bedding manufacturer, and how they have benefited from various initiatives of the Tourism Enhancement Fund, including through the Tourism Linkages Network.
What's up, racing fans? Tune into CVM to see all of the live action from Rally X.
An all-new Rally X highlights this Friday at 10 p.m.
Remix the summer with Digicel. 100 lucky winners win $100,000 each, plus surprises all summer. To enter, buy a SIM 7-day plan or higher. Switch to Digicel. Be an active postpaid or Digicel Plus customer, or receive US $15 or more from abroad. Gift a friend a plan. They could win $25,000. Remix the summer with Digicel. Authorized under Section 58 of the Betting, Gaming and Lotteries Act. Promo ends September 15, 2025. Conditions apply. Visit DigicelJamaica.com for more info. Digicel, better connected.
Thanks so much for staying with us. As the 2025 general election approaches, the question is not simply whether House Speaker Juliet Holness can win again in St. Andrew East Rural. It's whether she can defy the pull of history in a constituency that has never allowed either party to stay comfortable for long. St. Andrew East Rural is the focus of this Numbers Don't Lie with Andre Jebinson.
High in the misty hills of St. Andrew East Rural, a quiet but consequential political drama is unfolding as Juliet Holness prepares to defend her seat for a third term. What appears to be a comfortable margin of victory may in fact conceal a legacy of volatility that could give the incumbent and the JLP pause. In the 2020 general election, Holness, the current Speaker of the House, secured the seat with a decisive lead of 2,355 votes over the seasoned Joan Gordon Webley. She captured 4 of the 5 divisions, Gordontown, Mavis Bank, Dallas and Kintyre, with only Harborview staying with the PNP. But that narrative was somewhat disrupted in the 2024 local government elections. Though Holness herself was not on the ballot, the voters gave the PNP a 731 vote edge. The JLP held firm in Gordontown, Mavis Bank and Dallas, and the PNP made inroads as Harborview swung further into their column, and Kintyre, which Holness won in 2020, flipped orange. Holness first entered the fray in 2016, not as a planned candidate but as a last-minute replacement for Alexander Williams. She eked out a win over the PNP's Imani Duncan Price by just 669 votes. That margin, while narrow, was not out of character for the constituency. In 2011, the PNP's Damian Crawford defeated Gordon Webley, who ran under the JLP banner, by a mere 259 votes. In 2007, the JLP's Joseph Hibbert bested the current PNP Vice President Michael Phillips by just 270 votes. Across the past 4 general elections, the average margin of victory has been a slim 5.2%. Exclude the 2020 election, and the margin shrinks to a hair-raising 2.1%. Since Jamaica's independence, the PNP and JLP have won the seat 7 times. Now, as Holness seeks to complete the hat trick, she faces a fresh challenge in the form of Patrick Peterkin, a lesser-known figure. The stakes are heightened not only by the political arithmetic, but by the very nature of the constituency itself. Sprawling and mountainous, St. Andrew East Rural is one of the largest by square mileage. It is home to farmers whose livelihoods are threatened by landslides and who often feel left behind by urban-centered policies. Andre Jebinson, CVM News.
The opposition People's National Party is again vowing to address long-standing issues affecting the people of Northern Trelawney, to include housing, water and roads. During a recent party meeting in the constituency, both opposition leader Mark Golding and caretaker Dr. Wicker McNeil laid out plans intended to bring real change if elected.
PNP President Mark Golding says he's planning to build 50,000 houses over the next 5 years, and he will also repurpose the original vision of the National Housing Trust by providing and financing housing for ordinary Jamaicans.
We are identifying public lands which are not suitable for agriculture that we will make available to the housing entities in the government to build housing for the people, and we are not going to include the value of the land in the price of the house. So when you get one of those houses to buy, the day you buy that house, you will be $2 to $3 million richer because you're not paying for the land value that you're getting in the price of that house.
Them always say that water is life. Well, if water is life, Trelawney is a life support system because the water no good in a Trelawney.
Dr. Wickham McNeil, PNP caretaker for North Trelawney, also voiced concerns about water issues in the constituency. He's accusing the government of making no water provisions for the people of Trelawney. This, as he notes, the government of Jamaica's recent contract signing to channel water from the Martha Brae River into other parishes.
You cannot be taking the water from Martha Brae, and the people of Trelawney don't have water. You must take care of the people of Trelawney as well.
Dr. McNeil also addressed the issue of bad roads. He explains the roads are being partially fixed by the government, who then advertise them as fully paved roads.
You can't build Jamaica like that. When we get into power, we're going to fix the roads properly. We're going to do it in a concerted effort. We're going to make sure that the roads are done, that drainage is put in place and maintenance is put in place so the roads would last. This is a government of PR and marketing. Them fix a little piece of road and then them take a picture and say road a fix.
Carla Ramdeen, CVM News.
Lots more to come in CVM News at 7 right after the break.
At Flow, we understand your rhythm.
That's why we're dedicated to building a network as resilient as you. With a team of familiar faces working every day to keep you on beat. You're at the heart of everything we do. And our commitment is to keep your rhythm flowing, no matter what.
Hey everybody, I'm Yendi, and this is Odyssey with Yendi. In this space, we connect with some of your favorite people as they share their journeys. Here we have some unfiltered conversations as we deep dive into their inspirations, motivations, and experiences to inspire our own life journey.
Odyssey with Yendi, brought to you by Grace and Singer.
What's up, racing fans? Tune into CVM to see all of the live action from Rally X.
One race left.
An all-new Rally X highlights this Friday at 10 p.m.
Thank you so much for staying with us. We continue the news. Transport Minister Daryl Vaz visited the Manchester Transport Centre, where he shared plans to expand the centre to accommodate additional taxi operators and control traffic. We hear now from Digicel Mills.
A project that started 2 years ago by former Minister of Transportation and Mining and Member of Parliament for North East Manchester, Audley Shaw, to expand the Manchester Transport Centre is now back on the agenda with the current Minister, Daryl Vaz.
There is land behind me that adjoins the bypass that is owned by the municipal corporation. My understanding is that the municipal corporation did a plan in relation to expanding the park, improving the facilities, which was submitted to the Ministry of Local Government. I am hearing now for the first time, so I have requested the Municipal Corporation to send me a copy of it to the Transport Ministry so we can see how we can collaborate.
This expansion is expected to reduce traffic congestion, an issue that has affected the taxi operators for years. Vaz suspects the delay in the past was linked to a lack of funding and resources.
I also understand that aside from the Municipal Corporation owning the land, there's also another piece of land that is privately owned that we would seek to acquire to make sure we get the maximum space that we need. And I suspect that the Municipal Corporation is working with that, and I'm going to ask the Transport Authority also to make some checks with National Land Agency and see how we can do it. So I hope in a matter of a short period of time to be able to outline the vision and the plan and the timelines for this upgrade of Christiana.
Minister Vaz also notes the Transport Centre will be renamed in honour of retired MP Audley Shaw.
The outgoing Member of Parliament Audley Shaw, who has served the parish and the constituency well as the longest serving Member of Parliament in the history of Manchester, deserves recognition.
Digicel Mills, CVM News.
The government of Jamaica has welcomed the European Parliament's acceptance of the recommendation of the European Commission to remove Jamaica from its list of high-risk third world countries with deficiencies in their anti-money laundering and counter-financing of terrorism regimes. This development follows last year's removal of Jamaica from the Financial Action Task Force, FATF, listing. We hear more from Crystal Williams.
Just hours after the decision to delist Jamaica from the list of high-risk third-world countries, Minister of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade, Kamina Johnson-Smith, gave a special virtual address to the European Parliament. She expressed appreciation for the EU's acknowledgement of the work of the government of Jamaica in strengthening the country's anti-money laundering and counter-terrorism financing systems.
We cannot overstate the significance of this decision, which is a clear indication of the Parliament's willingness to respond positively to the needs and interests of small, vulnerable economies like Jamaica's. We thank the parliamentarians for this decisive action with exponential implications for our economies and accordingly our citizens. Ultimately, this places us in a better position to continue working purposefully towards achieving our national development goals.
Prime Minister Andrew Holness also welcomed the European Union's decision.
Now, while the European Union has recommended to the European Parliament via its delegated regulation of June 2025 that Jamaica and Barbados be delisted, this has not fully materialized as different groups in the Parliament, for reasons unrelated to the domestic situation in Barbados and Jamaica, have issued motions that will block positive action in this regard. We urge a reconsideration of this posture.
Hidden in all of this is CARICOM's strident appeal to the European Union to exercise a greater discretion that countries that have complied through great sacrifice, discomfort, and cost to the people of a developing country, that greater discernment and consideration be given to our circumstances, and that we are not lumped in with everyone else or having to wait for an extended period of time before relief can be given to us.
The European Union's decision to ease due diligence requirements on Jamaica is expected to boost cross-border financial flows, reduce compliance burdens, and strengthen the country's investment climate. This indicates increasing confidence in its financial system. In a later interview, Minister Johnson Smith recalled that Barbados was the other Caribbean country similarly affected. She also gave sentiments on the explanation given by Dr. Holness.
The decision by the European Parliament follows both joint and separate sustained advocacy efforts by Jamaica and Barbados at all levels. Even as recently as yesterday, our call for delisting was again repeated by Prime Minister Holness in his closing session as chair of the 49th meeting of CARICOM heads of government. We are so very pleased that in the end, a position was taken that recognizes the reforms that we have made to our financial systems and regulatory frameworks, a position aligned with last year's positive FATF decision. This is a signal of broad-based trust in Jamaica's systems.
While the delisting is a milestone, the government of Jamaica continues to emphasize the importance of maintaining momentum in financial governance through continued efforts to safeguard against illicit financial activity. Crystal Williams, CVM News.
Stay with us for more after the break.
Hey everybody, I'm Yendi, and this is Odyssey with Yendi. In this space, we connect with some of your favorite people as they share their journeys. Here we have some unfiltered conversations as we deep dive into their inspirations, motivations, and experiences to inspire our own life journey.
Odyssey with Yendi, brought to you by Grace and
At Flow, we understand your rhythm. That's why we're dedicated to building a network as resilient as you. With a team of familiar faces working every day to keep you on beat. You're at the heart of everything we do. And our commitment is to keep your rhythm flowing, no matter what.
This July, the world turns to Jamaica
for the Caribbean Investment Forum, the region's premier investment event.
From July 29 to 31, the Montego Bay Convention Center comes alive
with global thought leaders, exclusive investment opportunities, high-impact deal-making sessions.
Are you ready to invest in the Caribbean's future? Book now at CaribbeanInvestmentForum.com.
Let's shape a smart, green, connected Caribbean. July 29 to 31, Montego Bay. Powered by Caribbean Export, Government of Jamaica, Jampro, EU, CARICOM, Republic Bank, and IDB.
50 years of finger-licking good memories, yeah.
The time by KFC is
7:30.
Welcome back. We continue the local news. Christmas comes early for local entrepreneurs through a strategic initiative aimed at boosting sales, exposure, and economic impact. The Christmas in July trade show, led by the Tourism Linkages Network, has become a major platform for small businesses to connect with buyers and prepare for the holiday rush. Raymond Morrison has the details.
Christmas in July is an initiative under the Tourism Linkages Network, an arm of the Ministry of Tourism aimed at giving local creatives and small businesses a platform to showcase their products to buyers well ahead of the Christmas rush. Executive Director of the Tourism Enhancement Fund, Dr. Kerry Wallace, explains that the event creates an important window for micro and small businesses to prepare for bulk orders in advance, allowing them to meet demand, maximize profits, and scale with confidence.
In July. Why? So that when you place your orders, when a Princess Hotel with 1,000 rooms place an order to one of our creative geniuses here, and that order is for 4,000 of the product that they have, we don't want them to collapse. If it was in December that order was placed to be fulfilled in December, I promise you they would collapse. But when that order is placed in July, they can stand up strong and bold.
Tourism Minister Edmund Bartlett says the initiative is part of a wider effort to ensure that tourism works for all Jamaicans, not just those directly in the hospitality sector.
You need to develop an institutional capacity to drive this ability, to be able to convert the new ideas that are generated by these key players into material things and to provide them with a basis for startups. Because the industry is growing the way it is, and we have now reached a critical mass where we have just about 3 million stopover arrivals in line with our population, 1-to-1. A new demand has been created for goods and services that must be supplied by you. And if it is not supplied by you, it is going to have to be imported. And if it is imported, then we are going to have what we call leakage. That is to say, the good money that has come from tourism will leave by the same plane that brings the visitors or the same ship that brings the cruise passenger.
One business that has felt the impact firsthand is Body by Roxanne & Co. Limited. CEO Kemisha Oates praised the initiative for giving her brand exposure and a pipeline for growth.
I have always believed in the power of local connections and in brand Jamaica. The Tourism Enhancement Fund doesn't just open doors, they build bridges. Through their various matchmaking initiatives between local suppliers and the hospitality industry, I've secured partnership with premier hotels that align beautifully with my brand.
Now in her 7th year of the showcase, Belinda Hall of Silver Hall Designs has turned trash into treasure. Her recycled home decor pieces bring new life to older materials, reflecting a commitment to sustainability.
These are your empty wine bottles. So, turning trash into treasure. So these would normally end up in the garbage, in the dump. So I reuse them and I upcycle them, turn them into lamps. I also have my plates. Yeah. And these are all recycled materials.
And for a touch of Jamaican wit, Gary Parrish of Gary's Concepts uses burlap and t-shirts to showcase Jamaica's rich proverbial heritage. His pieces connect culture to commerce.
I write a lot of Jamaican proverbs and I put them on
serving trays, fridge magnets, and I am actually today I'm putting out my T-shirt line. You can't want Poogle and have mongrel money. Granny say.
With over 150 exhibitors, this year's staging was a celebration of innovation, community, and the power of buying Jamaican. According to the Tourism Ministry, as the industry grows, initiatives like these make sure no one is left behind. And according to the stakeholders, Christmas in July continues to open doors for local brands to thrive. Raymond Morrison, CVM News.
Over now to regional and international news.
We begin with news in the region. In Bahamas, the government is keen on increasing affordable housing for Bahamians. To that end, an expansion to an ongoing initiative now breaking new ground in a number of inner-city areas. More from ZSN Network.
We have already posted notices for in excess of 50 properties in the inner-city communities. And so now our next step now is to get the vesting declaration, and we are well on the way with that.
Housing and Urban Renewal Minister, the Honorable Keith Bell, says the clearing of those abandoned and in some cases dilapidated structures is part of a multi-pronged approach to improve inner-city areas.
The idea is to ensure that we revitalize these areas, but we use these inner city properties to build homes, affordable homes for the Bahamian people.
Bell explains provisions in the law regarding compensation.
Under the Constitution, the government cannot take anyone's property without proper and fair communication at the fair market value. That's in the Constitution. So any properties that we take, the persons they must be properly compensated by the government, and that is what we propose to do.
The Digicel Foundation and Shell Trinidad and Tobago have launched a hydroponics and aquaponics system at the Court Shamrock Center for Socially Displaced Persons in San Fernando. TTT News has that report.
The Court Shamrock Center for Socially Displaced Persons has not only been assisting those in need of shelter, but has expanded to broaden the skills of its residents. Through the $150,000 TT dollars grants by Digicel Foundation and Shell Trinidad and Tobago, the residents are now involved in agriculture. Social performance and social investor advisor for Shell, Risa Brathwaite, said the project will have a number of benefits.
So over the past 3 years, Shell has been partnering with the Digicel Foundation on the Extraordinary Projects Impacting Communities initiative, which enables us to support community-based organizations across Trinidad and Tobago with $100,000 grants. Today, we came to Court Shamrock to launch the aquaponics project, where they use drip-to-waste and natural systems to be able to generate food products, which they can sell or they can use within the home itself.
And in international news, President Donald Trump has officially delayed imposing higher tariffs on U.S. imports while sending letters to 14 countries, including Japan and South Korea, detailing the levies they face. The latest development comes as a 90-day pause the White House placed on some of its most aggressive import taxes that was set to end this week. The BBC has that report.
It's the week that we were warning you all about. Well, let's focus then on what the latest is from Donald Trump, who signed an executive order delaying his so-called Liberation Day tariffs once again until the start of next month. So letters have been sent to several major trading partners confirming the new levies will kick in on August the 1st. More are expected for countries who fail to agree a trade deal with the US. So let's have a look at some of the new tariffs that were announced this week. So the US has said it's planning to impose a new 25% tariff on products entering the country from South Korea and Japan. Japan sent almost $150 billion in goods to the US last year, making it America's 5th biggest supplier of imports. South Korea was also in the top 10. Trump also set out plans for a 40% tariff on goods from Myanmar and Laos and 35% on goods from Bangladesh. Meanwhile, South Africa found out it will receive a 30% tariff from the 1st of August.
And that's it for regional and international news.